just like when the banks began to fail and we saw Bitcoin really rocket to the upside. My issue with Bitcoin is that even when we had issues with some of the regionals where they were dropping 50% like 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin actually came down. I'm in the camp that I think Bitcoin topped out at 30,500 recently, and I actually think we are going to head lower. I'm still in the camp that we're probably not making, we haven't made the bottom in Bitcoin yet.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have master trader Gareth Soloway discussing his recent prediction for Bitcoin and his concerns with the current state of the crypto market. Soloway expresses concern that if Bitcoin falls below $24,000, we could still be looking at a low of $12,000 to $13,000 and as low as $9,000 in case the stock market experiences a significant sell-off. Soloway is alarmed by the current bullishness in cryptocurrency and predicts there is still more pain to come, possibly even a market collapse this year. He also believes the stock market will experience a significant downturn soon, which he's concerned will negatively impact crypto. Soloway also discusses his skepticism about the 4-year cycle theory, given the limited data we have and variables like inflation and the activity of the Fed. Let's get right into the interview with Gareth Soloway, as he gives his latest prediction for Bitcoin and where the crypto market is headed in the second half of the year. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
2023, maybe into 2024, the 9,001, but I do think by year end, it's very possible we could see 12 to 13 or at least double bottom at 15.7.
What would take Bitcoin then?
That's going to be risk. It's going to be risk adjustment, meaning that de-risking in the system. Bitcoin is going through this crazy period where people are just gambling on these coins. And I've said this before, but I've never seen
other coins.
Yeah, on the other coins, but it's all the psychology of it, right? It's when people feel like they can gamble and they can just sell it to someone else higher and they know deep down there's no utility. That is not a sign of a bottom in a market like a Bitcoin bull market. It's a sign of a top. And so now if you expand that out and say, okay, Bitcoin is still a risk asset. Well, what if the stock market does start to tumble? Where does Bitcoin go? And that's my thesis, is that we will hit a recession. The market doesn't think that the Fed won't come to the rescue. The market and investors are conditioned for now 10, 15 years. Every time there's a hiccup, the Fed prints money. I don't think they do it this time. And that is going to be a shock. It's going to revalue the stock market 20, 30% lower from here. And that will take Bitcoin back down. The Fed intends, like in their mind, they're like, we have to be hard about this. We can't let it get away from us. And I think they'll try to hold out. But just like always, eventually the Fed will print. But we're talking about them holding out to such a level where the market doesn't expect this. Because again, look at 2018. We had the Fed begin to raise rates. The market dropped 20% in like 6 weeks. And the Fed started instantly to reverse.
And that's what the markets have come to.
That's what they expect.
The tantrums have yielded results.
But that was when inflation was under 2%. Right. Yeah. So now this is the key. And the market doesn't realize that yet. So on our way down, there's a huge level around 23 to 24,000. If that breaks, you're headed to the 15,700 level, which is your double bottom. And then if that breaks, your next stopping point would be 12 to 13. So I'm very much a trader in that I look at the levels on the charts. And if one level breaks, if support breaks, the likely target is your next support line. And to me, 9 is a very intriguing number because the 10,000 will be max pain. And the markets, there's something about the markets and the psychology of the markets that it makes it so that the market wants to flush the most people out possible. And to me, where would that be? If you ever saw Bitcoin break 10, people would finally panic and throw up. Everyone says, oh, I'd buy 1 million, Bitcoin or whatever. That's nonsense. Panic would set in, and that's usually where bottoms are made. I'm such a contrarian that I want to see, I start buying when panic, or they say blood in the streets. That's the term.
Yeah.
When you see that, that's when you step up. Vice versa, when you see the gambling that's going on right now and the crazy moves in some of the stocks and cryptos, that's why I start to nibble on the short side. We are seeing the NASDAQ rally and the S&P rally right now. But this is the amazing thing. This is where I get all giddy and excited because, yeah. So if you look historically, and this is what I do, right? It's looking historically at charts. When we topped out in 2021, Bitcoin topped out in November, right? 6 weeks later, the S&P and the NASDAQ topped out. If you go back to 2017, we topped out in December in Bitcoin. And about 4 to 6 weeks later, we topped out on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And so what you're looking at here is, in my opinion, the NASDAQ and the S&P are rallying, but you're seeing that greed come in where I think in just the last week, NVIDIA is up like 10, 15%, right? It's getting close to all-time highs. That to me is the final push up. And ultimately, we're now at 4 weeks since Bitcoin topped. And so the idea is within 4 to 6 weeks, the S&P and NASDAQ should top. And now you're going to look for a flush. Just like Bitcoin, Bitcoin didn't get back to all times. It just got to 30,500. But same thing here. We should start to see the next leg down, both in crypto, which has started, the S&P 4 to 6 weeks later, which is right now to the next 2 weeks.
So Bitcoin is a leading indicator, if you will, for movement for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ?
Absolutely. And it is an indicator. And I'll tell you why is because people de-risk. When they start to get nervous, they sell their riskiest positions first, which is crypto. Then the next riskiest stocks, and then it goes down the chain. So it makes a lot of sense why Bitcoin would be a leader for telling us that the S&P would top out.
We have more and more people talking about CBDCs. What's your read on that?
So I think that the CBDC is coming. In fact, I think the Fed is purposely and the government's purposely withholding regulation so that the CBDC can get its foothold before institutions come in to the crypto markets, right? So we know that right now, there's so many institutions that probably want to get into crypto, but there's no regulation. They don't know what the rules are, and they're not going to put hard-earned investor money at risk until they have a firm framework. The government knows that, and the government, just like China did, and this is key, and weirdly enough, we're following the China playbook. China banned Bitcoin, launched its CBDC, the digital yuan, and then is now allowing Bitcoin back in, right? Instead of banning it here, they're just not giving anyone regulation or guidance, making it so hard for companies to operate and so hard for bigger players to get involved until they launch that CBDC. I would almost bet on it that once that CBDC is launched and has a foothold, all of a sudden magically we'll get the regulation out there. We have a Fed that, again, likely won't be cutting rates to stimulate growth. They've already said that there'll be a mild recession. Again, just like you mentioned with him saying transitory, look at what we got. So I have very little confidence in the Fed that they actually know what the economy is going to ultimately do. And it puts us into a situation where inflation stays elevated. And I think people have to understand that you had two parts to inflation. We had the supply chain part, which has been solved. We're not really in that issue anymore, but we still have the higher wages. Wages jumped tremendously since COVID. And that's going to be an inflationary pressure that's going to keep inflation above, in my opinion, just above 3% for at least a year. So the way I trade, and again, I'm a shorter term trader, but the way I look at it is you have things that have been beaten down to probably levels where it's a little overbeaten. And so if we just get some sort of relief rally, which is very likely in the banking sector, if things calm down a little bit, I think money flow heads back into them. And likewise, I'm actually short big cap tech. We've seen stocks like NVIDIA, AMD, Tesla start to rip higher again, Microsoft. All these stocks are starting to behave like they were in 2021. And for me, that's a red flag. Just like when I see Pepe in the crypto markets and all these meme coins running crazy, to me, that's not investing, that's gambling.
Soloway suggests that if Bitcoin does not hit new lows within the next 12 months, then it's possible Bitcoin may enter a bull market. He believes that the timing of bull and bear markets is an essential factor, and the market is currently in a waiting period. Soloway also states that the delay in regulatory clarity for crypto is due to the U.S. government's intention to release its central bank digital currency before giving any clarifications. He believes that we're still in a bear market phase, but with bull rallies. He says that the U.S. government wants to avoid a complete ban on Bitcoin, but is holding back regulations to prevent significant investment until the CBDC is in place. What do you think about Gareth Soloway's latest update for Bitcoin and where the crypto market is headed in the coming weeks? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.